Number 7. In this clip, two brave explorers set out to investigate an abandoned house that seems to have piqued their interest for some time. As they approach the site in their vehicle, one of them casually remarks, "Here it is," as if they had been anticipating this moment for a while. The house loomed in the distance, dark and ominous, surrounded by nothing but an eerie silence. They left the road behind and carefully drove toward the house, stopping just a few meters short of the entrance. With flashlights in hand, they began scanning the front of the house, moving the beams of light back and forth across the decrepit windows and walls. For a few moments, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, just the usual decay of a long-forgotten building. But then, as their lights passed by one of the windows, something chilling happened. A ghostly figure suddenly appeared, seemingly watching them from within the darkness. The sight of this apparition sent an instant jolt of fear through them, causing one of the explorers to shout "go" repeatedly in a panicked frenzy. Without hesitation, they drove off, their plans to explore quickly abandoned as they sped off into the night, leaving behind only the lingering mystery of who or what they had just encountered. Number 6. This footage shows a team of ghost hunters embarking on an investigation inside a long-abandoned home, their equipment at the ready to capture any strange occurrence. As they make their way through the darkened rooms, they approach the base of a wooden staircase. The camera pans up on the staircase and caught something at the top of the stairs, a fleeting, transparent figure. At first glance, one couldn't quite see what the camera caught. It just looked like an empty stairwell, bathed in the flashlight of one of the explorers. But then, they slowed the footage down to half speed, and that's when the eerie details began to be revealed. Upon closer inspection, the faint outline of a human figure becomes visible at the top of the stairs, almost like a hazy silhouette of a head and shoulders. The figure is facing the camera for a brief moment before it suddenly darts through a door on the right, vanishing without a trace. Number 5. Jem Parks, a YouTuber, has been grappling with something deeply unsettling for over a decade. His grandmother, who passed away more than 10 years ago, seems to still linger within her old home, a property that his family has kept preserved since her death. But this isn't just an empty house. There's an eerie energy within it, as if his grandmother's spirit never fully moved on. With palpable hesitation, Jem Parks decided one day to re-enter the house on his own, knowing full well what he might encounter. As he came into the living room, he came across his grandmother's cherished wooden rocking chair, rocking by itself. He might have thought that maybe an ordinary wind is responsible for the rocking, because he tried to stabilize it with an unconcerned attitude. But a moment later, as he cautiously explores the house, doors began to slam shut with no apparent cause, one after the other, as if someone or something is following him and closing off his path. It's almost as if his grandmother wants her privacy and doesn't want to be disturbed. Or perhaps, more chillingly, she's trying to keep him away from something that she doesn't want him to find. Then, as he turns a corner with his camera rolling, he captures a pale figure peering at him from a darkened doorway on the right. The apparition is just visible for a split second before it vanishes in the shadows. Number 4. In this clip, an Indonesian explorer embarks on a nighttime investigation of the notorious haunted Tayu Hospital, a place long abandoned and known for its eerie atmosphere and ghostly rumors. At first, the exploration seems uneventful, with nothing but the unsettling silence and the sight of overgrown grasses, decrepit walls, and forgotten medical equipment. But a few minutes into the clip, his sense becomes heightened as he could be heard breathing heavily and praying. Maybe he had seen or felt something. With camera in hand, he treads carefully through decaying corridors, cautiously shining his flashlight into some of the room to reveal the rotting remains of what was once a functioning hospital. As he approached this particular room, he casually panned the flashlight across the room from the corridor. Suddenly, the beams of light landed on a figure standing right in the middle of the room. It was the unmistakable shape of a nurse, her figure eerily still and illuminated by the flashlight. Her presence sent a shock of terror through his veins, and without a second thought, he turned and bolted, tumbling in a desperate attempt to escape whatever he had just seen. After gathering his courage, he decided to return to the room to confirm what he had just witnessed. But when he arrived, the nurse was nowhere to be found. The room was empty, leaving him with nothing but the unsettling memory of the ghostly figure and the chilling realization that he had come face to face with a ghost. Number 3. In this eerie encounter, two explorers, excited about their next adventure, decided to revisit a mysterious abandoned house that they had stumbled upon the night before. The dilapidated building had caught their attention, and curiosity led them back during daylight hours, hoping to get a better look at the structure in the light of day. The house, though mostly intact, was in rough shape. Its roof was partially caved in, and the floor covered with decaying debris, yet the walls stood, enclosing a space that seemed to hold secrets far darker than its outward appearance suggested. As they wandered through the crumbling interior, they fell into casual conversation, documenting the deteriorating surroundings with their camera. It seemed like just another exploration, until suddenly, the mundane was shattered by something utterly out of place. Their camera happened to pan across a nearby doorway, and in that moment, they captured something that made their hearts skip a beat. Gliding smoothly from above, a pitch-black figure crossed the doorway. Its presence was bizarrely out of sync with the bright sunlight filtering into the room. Despite the natural light, every inch of the figure remained completely black, so dark that it seemed to absorb all light around it. What made the scene even more unsettling was the fact that this figure had no discernible features. Its head was bowed slightly, as if in deep thought or mourning, but no face could be seen, only an ominous silhouette of a human-like shape moving silently through the air. The figure seemed to glide effortlessly, turned to the side as it passed through the doorway, vanishing as suddenly as it had appeared. Fear immediately took over, and the two friends turned and bolted, running at full speed away from whatever it was that had crossed their path. Number 2. In this unsettling video, a YouTuber named Alien6467 and a friend are driving down a long and desolate stretch of a country road in Southwood, New York, when something peculiar catches their attention. On the side of the road sits an old, abandoned white house, its presence eerily out of place amidst the quiet landscape. There is something about the house, something unsettling, that draws them in, prompting them to pull over to take a closer look. As they step out of the car and approach the house, the atmosphere feels heavy with an inexplicable sense of dread. Despite the bright daylight, it's as if a shadow looms over the entire property, casting an eerie vibe that immediately sets them on edge. They cautiously enter, their camera rolling as they explore the decaying interior. The first thing that stands out is a room with graffiti covering the wall, but not just any random tagging. One word written in large green letters: vengeance. Underneath this menacing message, they find something even stranger. Dozens of small Ziploc bags are pinned on the wall around the room, each one holding nothing but a single coin. The sight is baffling. Why coins? Why so many bags? The discovery sends a chill down their spines, but their curiosity pushes them deeper into the mystery. As they search further, they come across a loose floor panel nearby. Lifting it up, they find even more Ziploc bags, each containing a solitary coin hidden away beneath the house's floorboards. The more they discover, the stronger the ominous feeling becomes, as if someone is watching them. Unsettled by the mounting strangeness and the overwhelming sense of something wrong, they decide it is time to leave. They head back outside, but as they film the house one last time from the safety of their car, their worst suspicions are confirmed. Looking up, they see they are no longer alone, nor were they ever. From an upstairs window, a dark silhouette stands motionless, watching them from above. The figure is completely black, devoid of any features, and completely silent. It just watches. They freeze for a moment, realizing that they may have disturbed something that they shouldn't have. Without waiting to find out more, they quickly drive away, leaving behind the house and its mysterious inhabitant. Number 1. This chilling story takes place at the infamous Taylor Memorial Hospital, Hawkinsville, Georgia. This hospital was once the heartbeat of the southern Hawkinsville region, serving hundreds of thousands of patients during its years of operation. It was the go-to facility for the medical care in the area, as no other hospital was nearby. However, the hospital's popularity had a dark side. Because so many people sought treatment there, countless patients also lost their lives within its walls. Over the years, whispers of paranormal activity began to spread among both patients and staff. The longer the hospital remained open, the more frequent and intense these reports became. Patients would tell eerie stories of shadowy figures walking down the hallways, disembodied voices calling out, and strange, blood-curdling screeches echoing through the night. Objects would move on their own. Doors would slam without explanation, and an overwhelming sense of dread seemed to hang in the air. It got to the point where the hospital was not only known for its medical care, but also for the unsettling paranormal phenomena that plagued the building. After years of mounting tension, Taylor Memorial Hospital finally closed its doors in 1977 when the new facility, Taylor Regional Hospital, opened on the north side of town. Since then, the once bustling facility has remained abandoned, slowly deteriorating as the years passed. Nearly 50 years later, the hospital still stands, its crumbling walls a haunting reminder of the countless lives lost within. But what's even more curious is why such a large, iconic structure remains untouched by developers. It turns out that the answer may be far more disturbing than simple neglect. A company had actually purchased the property with plans to renovate it into office buildings. Construction began, and for a while, it seemed like the hospital would finally have a new life. But then, without warning, the construction came to a complete halt. The workers packed up and left, and the project was abandoned. Confused townspeople began asking questions. Why had the renovations stopped? The construction company's answer was shocking. They had experienced so many paranormal occurrences that they couldn't continue the work. Even the toughest, most seasoned construction workers refused to return to the site after the terrifying experiences they had while working inside the hospital. Then, 25 years later, the paranormal show Ghost Stalkers decided to investigate Taylor Memorial Hospital. The team brought cameras and high-tech equipment, hoping to capture evidence of the haunting activity that had scared off so many before them. What they captured on film stunned even the most hardened skeptics. What may be the first full-body apparition ever caught on camera. The figure appears briefly, but unmistakably in the footage, confirming what so many had feared for years. Taylor Memorial Hospital is not just haunted, it's a place where the dead still walk.